My dad had an affair with my mom's supposed best friend, Cheryl. 3 years ago, Cheryl pulled me, a teen male, aside and told me about the affair and that she wanted my help to make my siblings still love her when they found out. She was someone we were all close with. I'm the baby of the family and the favorite of everyone, which I don't see as accurate, but it's a bit of a joke, and I am the baby. So I do get people looking out for me more. This is something Cheryl tried to use to her advantage. She put me in the worst position by telling me about the affair because she hoped my siblings would love me too much to hate her if I told them not to. I was so angry at her and Dad. I didn't want to be the one to tell Mom. I didn't want to see her break down, but I knew I needed to. Mom was furious, more at Cheryl for involving me than the affair at first. My dad defended Cheryl and said she had known me my whole life and should be allowed to confide in me. It turned into a huge fight. My siblings hated them more for trying to involve me too. During the divorce, we all said we wanted to stay with Mom. The judge ruled I had to go to my dad's until I was a young teen, so I had to go to Dad's house every other week for 2 years. I made it my mission to make their life harder for them that whole time. I refused to go along with the happy family crap they tried to pull, which only got way worse when Cheryl was pregnant. And they wanted to do a pregnancy reveal with me in it, and I said no. After the baby was born, they thought I would soften and would want to know their baby, but I didn't. The last time I was at their house, Cheryl became pregnant again. After I turned the age the judge set, I stopped going. I refused to answer texts from them. I can't block my dad until I turn 18. My siblings have them both blocked, and they refuse to engage with them. Cheryl and my dad's family are living closer to them now, and both ask us about why we're not around. Dad's family has tried to reach out and get me to reconcile, but I told them it wouldn't happen, and I hate my dad. Cheryl confronted me while I was at the mall the other day. She followed me into different stores and said I have 2 younger siblings I should know, and that I loved her before, so I should stop punishing her and Dad and start being more respectful. I had enough when I realized she wasn't going to walk away, and I told her she was disgusting and repulsive for trying to use me to her advantage, a tween kid, when she was having an affair with Dad. I told her I would never show her any respect, and that she and Dad could explain to their kids why they'll never be a part of my or my siblings' lives. But I'm not going to let them guilt me into anything. She's used Dad's phone a bunch since then, and I've gotten over 100 texts already. Mom told them to stop, and bullying a child after all they did makes them look even worse. The response was that I was a disrespectful child who should have been taught better. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What the actual heck was Cheryl thinking? She's a homewrecker demanding forgiveness, respect, and understanding from the people whose homes she wrecked? What a joke. Record everything in a book, including when they harass you in public, and everything on your phone. Also back it up if you can. Then, whenever you can, take it to the police for harassment. Having everything documented for however long you have to will make it easier for the police to help you. I'm petty, but I would make a public post explaining everything and tagging the whole family, saying to stop asking for reconciliation because it just ends up hurting you more, and that you can't block your dad yet, but you can block them. They deserve a lot of humiliation, and maybe it'll be their reality check to know their place. The problem is their lack of respect for your parents' marriage. Your dad is way out of line to condone Cheryl confiding in and attempting to manipulate a child, trying to force a familiar relationship, and bullying you. And Cheryl using your dad's phone to contact you can be seen as stalking before bullying. She was literally harassing you. Based on this, you can probably get an order of protection against her and your dad for harassment since his phone was used, which you should do. The dad is just as disturbing, saying his affair partner has a right to confide in a child because they've known the child their whole life. That makes it even more messed up. This is a child, not your bestie. But then again, she messed up her best friend's husband. So I can see why she's confused about relationships and what they mean. Truly a horrific human being who doesn't deserve a moment of joy or peace. So I have 2 grandkids, a preschooler and a pre-tween. I live about 45 minutes away from them. In the beginning, I was still working, so it was hard to make time to visit them. I would go up to visit them, but sadly, it wasn't fun. I'm not baby crazy and do not want to spend my whole day watching a kid sleep. So I would stay for 2 to 3 hours before going home. My daughter hated that I wouldn't spend more time, and I told her when they were older, we would bond more. I got into a car accident. It wasn't bad and it was my fault. The sun got in my eyes and I bumped into someone's car. In total, it was about $300 in damage since their car had dents in the back. It was a very minor accident. After that, my daughter forbade me from driving anywhere with her kids. So now I can't do anything with the kiddos when I go up. There's only so much I can do in the house, and I would have loved to take them out to places. I've asked her to drive down since I live in a walkable area, but she is not. It's too difficult to get them loaded up and down here. I still tried, but the more she didn't want to visit me, the more I got tired of this. Not to mention, she was always on me about not being more involved. I've told her so many times that you don't let me do much with them. My breaking point was last summer. I was babysitting them in the summer, and I brought up a kid's sprinkler. You connect it to the hose and the kids run through it on the splash pad. The kids had a great time, but my daughter was angry because it ruined the grass. The water made mud, and the kids running messed up the grass. After that, I just stopped trying. I told her to take the kids to me, and she refused. I'm retiring and selling my home. I wish to move near the Blue Mountains, which are across the country. I told all the kids and everyone was happy for me, except my daughter. We had a huge fight about me being a horrible grandparent. I told her she was the reason I was an absent grandparent. She called me a jerk. Am I the idiot for moving across the country and telling my daughter that they're the reason I'm the absent grandparent? Not the idiot. It's not that hard to get 2 kids in a car for 45 minutes. She just doesn't want to. I live at the base of the Blue Mountains, and my in-laws live near the airport. We go visit them with our 7-year-old roughly once a fortnight. Sometimes they come to us, but we like going out and looking at the beach. We've done this since the little one was a baby. It's not hard. They have the best adventures, and they can jump on the light rail, ferry, or whatever, and go to different places. I will go against the grain and say everyone's the idiot here. You can do a lot of things with your grandkids that don't involve sprinklers or being in a walkable city. You both need to work on your communication skills. She can be upset by the sprinkler ruining her grass and making her backyard a mud pit. I hate breaking it to you, but babies aren't fun. They sleep a lot. It's not about doing fun things with them at that age. It's about being there and helping your daughter who has a baby and was probably struggling. No mom wants to hear that their child is not having fun after opening their home. It would make me not want my mom to come around. My dad isn't baby crazy either, but he's never verbalized it. Reading this, I feel like there are missing things. I would just love to hear the daughter's point of view. I mean, I think the entire entitled, "Nothing is my fault, but it's because of you" attitude is the missing reason. I'm sure OP brought that attitude into their parenting as well. It's very obvious. OP barely takes responsibility for her own actions. The car accident was a 0.5 millimeter away from being written in the passive voice. She ruined her daughter's lawn but didn't really care because the kids got a fun hour. This feels like a very entitled grandma to me. OP, you are the idiot, and I can't believe so many people here are falling for your BS. I have never wanted kids. I was forced to watch my younger siblings, 4 of them, until I left at the age of 16. I greatly dislike babysitting and never had my own children. I've never been comfortable around young kids after that. My husband has 3 children. I met and married him when his kids were in their 20s. I am not a mother figure to them, just their dad's wife. Overall, I got along well with the 3 adults. The problem started when my stepdaughter Kelly became pregnant. Everyone was excited for the first baby in the family, and I made it clear I didn't want to babysit, and when grandkids were around, my husband was the main caretaker. My husband agreed. The first 2 years went great. My husband is an awesome grandpa, and I'm fine being the relative who brings toys and other fun stuff occasionally. Kelly's been pushing hard for me to take a more traditional grandma role. Her mother-in-law isn't involved. She lives a few states over. Kelly's gotten in her head that I should be babysitting instead of her father. We've talked to her multiple times. My husband is on a work trip and will be back next week. Usually he babysits on Mondays, but he informed her that he won't be there, so it was canceled. She stopped over and was dropping her kids off. I asked her what she was doing since her dad wasn't there. She told me that I needed to step up and babysit. She doesn't care if her dad isn't here. I'm present. I told her no. This went in circles for a bit and got much more heated the longer we went. I told her I didn't want to watch any kids, including yours. She's angry. My husband is fine with what I did, but his other children are on his butt. So, am I the idiot? Edit. Her own mother is dead. My husband remarried after her death. Not the idiot. However, this is not necessarily about who's an idiot or not, as I assume you would prefer to continue having a good relationship with her in the future. Have you described why you don't want to do it? I think if you frame it as you did here, essentially, I was forced to look after children when I was a child and ran away from home because of it. It's difficult to see how someone can still be angry. Sometimes in life, you need to pick between being ideologically correct and actually getting the results you want. Can you read? We've talked to her multiple times. There's no excuse for her behavior whatsoever. The OP said no, told her why, and she still pushed it. That's on her. Also, I want to point out, nobody owes stepdaughter babysitting either. They're her kids. They're her responsibility. Why would you want to force your kids on someone who doesn't want to be with them? That's so bizarre. Because some parents don't like to be with their own kids. They pawn them off to whoever they can. The idea of parenthood is often a lot nicer than reality. Stepdaughter's outside of her mind for thinking that you should be more of a traditional grandma when you aren't a mother figure to her. Moreover, asking someone who's made it clear that they will not babysit to babysit is just lunacy. I can't imagine being a parent and willingly leaving my kids with someone who isn't willing to devote time and attention to them. It's not a safe environment. So I'm 31 female, an adoptive mom to a preteen girl named Lily. We decided to go school supply shopping because I enrolled her in a before school starts program. A month before school starts, they learned some extracurricular stuff. Lily wanted to join the program, so we bought all the school supplies. I've had problems with people stealing from Lily, so I marked everything. We bought all the required supplies, including a clear backpack. To prevent theft, I used E6000 glue to put her name on the clear backpack, so no one could take it. It's bound to happen otherwise. We got a cute pencil pouch, and I wrote her name with a Sharpie on the inside. I also wrote her name on the box of markers in every individual marker. I did the same with the scissors and the glue stick. I wrote her name on everything to prevent theft. I sent her to the program, but when Lily came home, she was upset, though not crying. Apparently, we weren't supposed to write names on the school supplies because everything would be mixed up and distributed to everyone. I called the teacher and they explained that they didn't have enough money to get every single kid their own supplies, so they planned on distributing the supplies evenly. The teacher shamed Lily for it. Now, I'm trying to figure out what to do. Wait, they shamed a preteen over the misunderstanding? I know that's not the point of the post, but I would be losing my cool over the teacher taking it out on the literal child. Apologize to Lily for the misunderstanding, assure her that it wasn't her fault, and work with the school to resolve the issue constructively. I'm not a my kid can do no wrong parent. I'd ruin that teacher's career for that, and probably sue the school for $1 just to burn their resources in court if they didn't kick that idiot to the curb. I have 2 kids. Kids understand being shamed, and because they're expected to be subservient in a school setting, they internalize it when the adults are being witches instead of gluing the teacher to a chair. And they explained that they didn't have enough money to get every single kid their own supplies. But the school isn't buying the supplies. The parents are. It has nothing to do with the school not having enough money. It's that some parents don't or can't buy supplies. That's not OP's problem, though. She isn't responsible for other people's kids. The teacher is the idiot. And this sounds scummy and suspicious. Why were you not made aware of this before you bought the supplies? Okay, so for context, I'm my dad's affair baby, and I live with him and my stepmom. My dad is basically your stereotypical rich idiot who cheated on his reasonably aged wife with a younger woman. My mom and my stepmom decided to stay with him. My mom was unaware of my dad's wife or my older siblings when she had me. However, despite this, rather than direct her anger at my dad, my stepmom chose to direct it at my mom and at me. Honestly, I'm indifferent to my dad's idiocy. Sure, he's a bad person, but he's a good father. My stepmom doesn't interact with me much and treats me with indifference mostly. We live in the same house, but we don't care for each other. I don't mind this, but I do mind her occasional comments on my mom. Earlier today, while I was in the conservatory studying, I like natural light. She came in on her phone talking to her friend and basically called my mom an ugly curse word in a look what he cheated on me with way. I interrupted and said, if mom was so bad and dad cheated on stepmom with mom, what did that say about stepmom? She went red in the face, cut the call, and then tried to yell at me, but I essentially called her a jealous, bitter old lady, took my books and went to my room. I don't know. I can't focus on physics properly when I feel bad about saying all that and making fun of her for getting cheated on. My exam's later today, and I'll fail at this rate. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'm a guy. There's a running story in my family about how my mom was so furious when she found out that she almost didn't let him see me when I was born. She only did it because she wanted me to have a dad present, regardless of their relationship. I just felt guilty about doing it because honestly, it's not that big of a problem. It's a big house, and we don't interact often, but I'll probably have to after that whole thing. Everyone's the idiot here. First of all, your dad is not a good father. He's the primary source of the hostility that you've had to live with. Also, your stepmom is an idiot for lashing out at you and your mother, rather than your father, who's the main person deserving of her ire. I can't blame you for feeling the urge to defend your mom. If she truly didn't know your dad had a family, she really doesn't deserve to be trashed. That said, it's extremely unlikely that your mom didn't know, and if she did, then yeah, shame on her. But your stepmom also didn't deserve what happened to her, so rubbing it in isn't the way to go. Your dad is living comfortably while everyone around him is bickering with each other because of his behavior, and he's remained in a relationship with a person who's abusive to his son. He's a horrible father. Not the idiot. I don't know what this thing is where the kid is expected to act like an adult in the face of ridicule and abuse from an adult. Your stepmom is a grown woman. You are a child with no say in being born. The fact that she keeps taking things out on you and regularly insults your mother in front of you is just gross. It's like she's saying she can't stand up to your dad, but she can bully a kid.